I'm interrupting Kieran's nap time to film this video. Hello, I hope that you are all doing well. A friend of mine requested that I make a couple of YouTube videos on things for beginners, things they might not know. One thing that was really important for me when I was first experimenting with makeup is, having the right tools. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite tools for applying makeup, how I use them. It's not going to be specific to brand because some of these things I got in like Ipsy bags and subscription services, but the focus is more on like the shape and the density of the brushes. So I'm first going to talk about face tools, face brushes. I have a beauty blender in here, so let's actually start with that. So a beauty blender looks like this, and just disclaimer, they're all going to be dirty because they're all my favorite. So I have a little beauty blender here. I have tried so many different kinds of beauty sponges. I've tried the Morphe one, I've tried the Real Techniques ones, I've tried all the ones I got in my Ipsy bag, and none of them compare to this little thing. I think I recently repurchased, but I get so much use out of beauty blenders. You know what, I don't think I actually have. I've had this one for years and it is so good. I clean it with like a little like bar of soap from Real Techniques for like brush cleaning. So yeah, love this. I use it to apply foundation with the flat side and blend things out with the rounded side, but I love this part for doing my concealer around the inner corners. I also use my beauty blender to set my face with powder. So I use loose translucent powders to set my face, and I'll use the pointed end here in a tub of translucent powder and set my eye area and my smile lines. Then I'll use a brush or this in a different kind of powder to set the rest of my face. For setting my face, I use this kind of brush. It's tapered, but it's quite large and fluffy. It's not very dense. I like it because it deposits product really well. It's really soft. I got this at Target for like $6 a million years ago. It's super soft. It deposits product really smooth, really evenly. It blends things out. I have very dry skin, so I don't like to put a lot of powder on my face. So this is really good for that because it doesn't pick up too much product, and like when you tap it off, stuff comes off really easily. For bronzer, I have two different brushes here. They're both by Real Techniques, but I really like the shape, the kind of tulip shape. I don't like bronzer brushes that are too big. I have quite a small face, and especially a small forehead, so I don't want my bronzer brushes to be as big as like my powder brush. So this one here I've had the longest. I've had this for years and it's still so good. The Real Techniques brushes, like the line is just incredible. For drugstore makeup brushes, I also really like the Morphe brushes. I haven't tried as many of those though, but this one is more dense. It has more bristles. It deposits more product. So if the bronzer is more sheer, and I know I have to build it up more, I'll use this kind of bronzer, but like for the Anastasia bronzer, it is so pigmented, so I use this one. It's very, very light and fluffy and airy. It's a stippling kind of brush, so you can see here how it's more dense at the bottom and fewer bristles here at the top. So I pick up the product, I deposit it, and then I can blend it out really easily and really smoothly. This one's a new addition. I've only had this one for about a month, but I really, really like it. For blush, I like this kind of shape. I know it's not the traditional blush brush shape, but this is the Luxie 514. I got this in an Ipsy and it's so good. I've had this for years and it's still kicking. I like that it's flat. It gives me really nice coverage on the cheeks, and it's not too dense and it's not too light. It's not as light as this, but it's not as dense as the other bronzer brush. I like this one a lot. It just works really well for me. For highlighter, another Real Techniques brush, I have this, it's actually called the setting brush, but see if I can get it to focus on this. There we go. So you see how it has that tulip shape where it's kind of stippled, it's more dense down here at the bottom and lighter up here at the top. I like that it's smaller, since I do have that smaller face shape, it gives me more precision here. I also use it on my forehead, my lip, my nose. This one's really nice. It doesn't pick up too much, it doesn't deposit too much, and it really helps to blend it out. I actually do my blush and highlight opposite than kind of the industry standard that we see a lot on the internet now. I like to do my highlight first and then with my blush blend it out. Like with this brush and my blush, I blend out the highlight so that it's not too intense. I like my whole cheek area to be glowy, but not kind of that strip highlight there at the top of the cheek. For blending, if I feel like I've gone too hard with the bronzer or the blush, I like to just keep a fluffier brush that's clean for blending. I don't really like a stipple brush. I've tried that. I had heard people really like that, but for me it's just not the best. This one is a oh my gosh, Bhcosmetics. I've had this one forever. I got this whole range that they had a couple of years ago and the brushes are really nice. But for this one, it's like a face powder brush, but I use it to just blend out if I've gone too hard. Moving on to eyeshadow brushes, I have a few. Not everyone is gonna have this many brushes, and that's fine. But it's just more the shape that's important. So even if you only get a couple, the shape is really what matters. So I have two here that are bigger. Focus. I have these two here, which are much wider, more for blending. So this is gonna be for your crease, your initial transition color. I like these because they're very soft. This one is a little bit more dense, but I kind of like that. They really help to just add a fluffy light layer of transition shade to get started. I don't actually even know what brand these are. This one's the Farah 35E and this is the Skone Blending. But really, again, just the shape. Get like a wide, light, not very dense brush for your transition shade. For blending in the crease, you're gonna want something that's more this shape. It's much more tapered, much more narrow. It's gonna give you a better, more precise blend. I'll use this for my like second and third crease colors. Again, it's not gonna be like your black or your dark brown because you're gonna want like the next brush that I'm gonna talk about that's more precise. But for this, it really helps you to begin that gradation of colors from your transition shade to your deepest crease shade. Like today, I only did a couple of crease shades and I used two of these shape brushes for the two deeper shades because I didn't want it to be super concentrated. This one's going to be more precise than these bigger ones, and you can just see the size difference here. So it helps you to be more precise. The next one for the crease is going to be this guy right here. Super tapered, super small. This is like if I'm doing a really smoky eye and I want that dark brown or that black, although I rarely ever use black because I'm so fair. This is the brush shape that I'm going to use. This is the Luxie 231, the small tapered blending. This gets right in my crease. It's very fluffy, but it's not too fluffy. So it gives me that pigmentation I want without it blowing it out. So this one's really going to place it, and then I'll go back in with this type of brush and blend it out. So ignore this blowout here on the side, but I like to use this flat shadow brush for giving me an eyeshadow liner. So I'll use this with a deeper color and press it, like stamp it on my lash line to give me the illusion of eyeliner without actually having to do liner because I have very shaky hands and I don't like it. This is the e.l.f. flat liner brush. I also do really like e.l.f. brushes. They're very inexpensive and the newer ones are really good quality. The last eyeshadow brush I'm going to talk about here is this little Real Techniques. It's called the shading brush. It's kind of flat, very tapered, very small. I use this for my inner corner highlight, my brow bone highlight, and if I'm using a foiled shadow, that works well with a brush. For most foiled shadows, like a lid shadow, I'm going to use my fingers just because I know that I get the best result that way. But I like to use this one for the inner highlight, the brow bone, blending the two of them together. And then the last tool I'm going to talk about is an eyelash curler. I know this can scare some people because it's very weird looking, and I've tried several drugstore ones and just have not found a good one. This is actually the Mercier eyelash curler. I feel like this is the only eyelash curler I've ever used that really truly helps my lashes hold a curl. I also really like the shape of it because it's not too, I want you guys to be able to see it. It's not too rounded, but it's not too flat. For me, it's just a really good shape for my eyes. This is really important for me because I have stick straight eyelashes. Sometimes they even grow down like into my bottom lashes, especially in my outer corner. So an eyelash curler is really helpful for me to get that lift in my eyelashes, and then I combine it with a mascara that helps to hold the curl as well. I hope all of this information was helpful. If you have any more questions about tools, more questions about why I used the brushes that I did for what I used them for, or more recommendations, please just let me know. This was just meant to be sort of a beginner's guide to shapes of brushes, ways you use them, and what they're good for. I hope that you guys have a great day, and I'll hopefully be back soon.